Hello, this is Bo Wells with LANDESK Software, and today I want to talk to you about one of our LANDESK One partners known as Nexthink. What Nexthink is doing is changing the perspective of monitoring within our organizations. Instead of monitoring our critical business applications from a monitoring program such as SolarWinds or SCOM or Nagios within our actual data center to another server that's in our data center, instead, what they're doing is they're changing the perspective and they're giving us the ability to see how end users are actually interfacing with the services in our organization. Specifically, what they're doing is they're putting a passive collector on each of the machines. Basically, that's a kernel driver that exists on each of the machines and streams in a real-time fashion what that individual is executing, what servers and domains outside of our organization that it's communicating to, and what type of issues that application and connection and device are encountering. So I'm going to show you two examples today. Within these two examples, we're going to go through two different types of problems that take place in organizations every day. And what we're looking at right now is the Nexthink portal. This is sort of our dashboard for critical business services in our organization. You can see here that I've got my ERP system as one of my critical business services that I'm monitoring. And of course, SAP and our CRM app. But we're going to drill into the top two for today. So if we take a look at that 15.2% that we're seeing, that's telling me that real time, right this second, 15.2% of the people that are attempting to interface with our ERP applications are having issues. So let's drill in and find out a little bit more information about this. So first of all, what we're going to do is we're going to take a look and see, is this a new problem or is this something that's recently trending? So I can see that within this last day that I can see that we haven't had any issues until about this specific time. Then we're starting to see an uptrend in the actual issues that are taking place within the organization. We'll drill in more here in a couple moments on what those issues actually are, but let's take a look and see if maybe this is usage. And see if maybe people just started using it. And I can see here that no, people were definitely utilizing the service before the issues started to be encountered. So we know that this is not something that has been persistent throughout the environment's history. So let's find out a little bit more information about this and drill in a little bit further. And this is giving me a hierarchy of my organization. And it's allowing me to see how widespread the problem is. So I can see here that it's fairly regionalized within our organization. Americas are not having any problem, but Europe and the Middle East, they're starting to have problems. So we can even drill in further within our organization, and I can see specifically in Europe, the UK is fine, but France and Switzerland are where the problems are existing, and it's really giving me more information about it. But still, I need more information than where this specific problem is happening, when it's happening, and the trend that it's happening with. So if I drill in a little bit further, I can get even more information. And I can see here that our connectivity issues, we really haven't had any connectivity issues, but I haven't had any devices with specific warnings. But I'm seeing lots of application crashes trending up in a way that's trending along with the same type of problem that my specific service is being impacted with. So this right here is telling me that I need to drill in further. So if I take a look a little bit further, we'll see what actually took place in my organization. First of all, I get a little bit more of an administrative view set when I switch over to the administrative console that Nexthink calls their Finder. So I can pivot on different types of information, so I can see the timeline for the devices having the issues. I can see the trend of devices as they're using the service and what sites are using the services, and see information on that location or regional basis within my hierarchy. And of course, I can see the trending on items and average network response times and the amount of time and the amount of traffic that's coming in and out. So I'm getting a lot of great analytical information. It's really giving me the information that I need so that I know where to look further. But for me, a picture's worth 1,000 words. And in this specific environment, I can go through and provide a dynamic representation of your organization and this business service. All that we've provided within this is the actual destination URL of our ERP application, and Nexthink has dynamically created this representation of my environment. So let's step through these items. So on the left-hand side, I'm seeing the different sites that my organization has within our hierarchy. So I can see that this is the Dubai office, which represents multiple machines at our Dubai office. I can see London, I can see New York. So we can see that that represents all of the individual sites within our organization. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a look over at the next item, which is the executables or the binaries in our organization. So I can see that people interface within our organization with Internet Explorer to be able to communicate with the front-end server over here, which we can take a look, which is our actual proxy server, in order to access the actual application that is our ERP. So I can also see that they accessed using the ERP.exe. Notice this is version 6680. Then I can see that they also interface with ERP version 6510. So within our organization, in this specific example, what happened was we were having a problem with failed connections. We contacted our ERP vendor, explained that we were seeing issues with this specific version of the executable, and they suggested that we update to the latest version of this executable. So they suggested that we go ahead and upgrade to 6680. And if you take a look and notice, we're not having communication problems with version 6680. But if you remember, the problem that the portal showcased to us was not connectivity problems. In fact, it did not show any connectivity problems within the last day. But what it did show was that we were having application crashes. In fact, we were having them today. So what we're going to do is we're going to come over. We're going to do a search for ERP.exe, and I'm even going to go a step further. I'm going to say, show me the ones that happened today. And if you take a look, this is actually going to come over and it's going to show me the executables matching ERP.exe. So there's the ERP.exe applications in my environment, but I want to take a step further, and I want to come down to the actual binaries so I can see the individual versions that's taking place. And as we can see, we've got 6510, which is where we had the connectivity problems, and 6680, which is where we're not having those communication problems. But I want to know a step further and see what's actually taking place inside of my organization. So now we can come over, take a step further, and I can see number of application crashes per version within our organization. And I can see that all the devices that are having problems with application crashes are having problems with the new version. So I'm going to pick up the phone, I'm going to call my ERP vendor, and I'm going to have a conversation with them saying, look, the version that you gave me that fixed the connectivity problems did fix the connectivity problems, but now it's having crashed application issues. So I need something to be able to get past this. So once again, I'm not going to tell you specifically what is wrong with that code, but I'm going to give you all of the analytical information in a real-time fashion that gives you the ability to know where to look. And in this case, I'm going to pick up the phone, call that ERP vendor, and get a new version of that ERP.exe that hopefully has both the connectivity and the crashed application issue. So let's come back and take a look at another example. We'll go ahead and collapse this back down so our dashboard looks right and it's represented within our NOC screens so that we can see what's going on. So this time we'll switch over and we'll take a look at SAP. And with SAP, 77.4% of my organization having problems right this second attempting to access SAP is a major problem. So we'll drill in and see the same type of item that we saw over for the ERP application. We can see something very similar. We can see that we're trending. If we switch over and take a look at usage, we can see that this is not in direct relation to the actual utilization. So we can come over and take a look at that. We can drill in a little bit further. We can see the problem is just taking place in Europe, and it appears to be widespread across Europe. So immediately I'm able to go through and see this type of information. So we can go a step further, and then we'll even drill in a little bit further. And this time I can see that it's not only is it a web request issue, but specifically I'm getting a large number of 500 requests in my organization. So we need to drill in and find out more information about this. So let's go ahead and drill back into that finder and take a look and see in the organization. Once again, we can pivot on this information, and one of the interesting items that we can see in here is an average web request duration. This might be something that you don't know what the average is within your organization, but you know that the problems are starting to trend around this area. So we can take a look and see, well, no, those are fairly normal across the environment. I'm not seeing any peaks or any valleys within the actual data for when that's taking place, so that's probably not what it is. So let's go back to that actual map so that we can see what's taking place in our network activity. Once again, we're seeing our actual locations across the left. Looks like everyone is using Internet Explorer version 11.02. Everyone's talking across one port, and everyone's talking to one specific domain within the environment. I'm not seeing any peaks or valleys within the utilization at the bottom, so nothing like that. So let's go ahead and filter out and just take a look at where the actual requests or the actual issues are taking place. And it's very evident immediately that there's one single point within our flow that is having a problem. And you don't even need to know what it is, but we can see that everything going through this server is functioning fine. So we can see that all of our New York office is flowing through this server. We can see that all of our Dubai office is functioning through that. But whatever this is, and if we go ahead and hover it, we'll notice that is our European proxy server that seems to be a common point of failure that we can come in and take a look at. And now I can take this evidence, I can go back to the data center guys and say, guys, everyone communicating through this is having problems. I know your existing data center monitoring solution is probably telling you that that's green, or you would have done something about it. But I'm here to tell you everyone communicating through that from our London office, from our Paris office, and from our Zurich office that are attempting to access our SAP application are having problems, and this is the common point of failure. With that type of information, the common arguments that take place within IT departments about whose responsibility it is to restore a service can be simplified, and we can know where to start from. Guys, this has been Bo Wells with LANDESK Software talking to you about one of our LANDESK One partners known as Nexthink. Please visit my website, guys. We have lots more videos like this one. You can reach me at www.discovermanagesecure.com.